back to Innovation Alley. We're your hosts. I'm TowelManPurple.
I'm Bjorn.
And what we're going to do today is we're going to go over two separate decks that are in the same color combination just to get started for a segue into our first innovation of set 6.
Oh,
But
yeah.
before we do that, I would like for everyone, if you haven't done so already, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel down below. That way you can stay up to date on everything that we're doing here. And that way you get entered into the drawing at the end of every month. We're doing a giveaway. So don't miss out.
Yeah, yeah, and don't miss out on videos that we upload every Tuesday. Every Friday is a new Innovation Alley where we bring you the spice.
Listen to Bjorn. That guy knows what he's talking about. All right? Now, what a lot of y'all have been waiting for, we are going over
Mm-hmm.
the red-yellow location deck. I know it sparked a lot of interest for a lot of people. You know, set 6 has showed a lot of promising cards that we're really
Yeah.
interested in, and it could just be very impactful. So, the original version of the red-yellow location deck, this is from set 4. We had 4.
Yeah, or the TowelMan Special, as I prefer to call it.
Oh, well, thank you. Now, we have 4 Lumiere, 4 Mother Gothel,
Yeah.
4 Han Sisu, 4 Tuk Tuk, 4 Rapunzel. We had 4 Goofy, 4 Prince Eric, 4 of everybody's favorite card soldiers, 4 Jim
Uh-huh.
Hawkins, 4 Queen of Hearts, 4 Just in Time, 4 Brawl, 4 The Underworld, 4 Tiana's Palace, and 4 RLS Legacy.
Yep, powerful list.
As people would call it, it was a 4-head deck. It was nothing but 4 ofs. 15 different cards, 4 copies of each. It just got the job done. Increased consistency by doing so. So, what we were doing then in set 4, okay? We wanted to have a turn 2 play no matter what, whether it was a location, a Lumiere, or Mother Gothel, right? We probably wanted Mother Gothel, but we settled for something else if it happened to come up. Turn 3 immediately put us on wanting a just-in-time line, right? As long as you had a just-in-time and another thing to follow it up, it was great. Depending on your matchup, you'd either go just-in-time into Rapunzel or just-in-time into Jim Hawkins followed by a location, you know, because you just get so much more value from the card itself. And that was very important and pivotal in that meta. Set 5 rolled around, and it became a little less advantageous because there were more cards that were kind of hindering to the interaction that our deck was doing. Not that the deck is bad or awful by any means, but there were modifications and alterations that took place. For example, Brawl was now Teeth, and we had to have 1 drops because the format started speeding up. And then if you slow it down, you just get ran over by the aggro decks, and it wasn't a good sign for us. Now, to top it off, this was just one half of the input leading to our segue for our set 6 deck on the next episode.
Mhm.
But the next deck we're going over is Ladies Anthem.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, I'm sure you remember this, Bjorn, because this was one of your first babies.
Yeah, this is my early set Princess aggro deck for sure. Yeah.
And we had done a lot of
Um,
testing, right? We
mhm.
went over this deck list numerous times. Now, go ahead and take us away with what's in this list.
Yeah, I mean the core of it is, of course, the shift Vanellope and shift Mulan. Right, shift Vanellope. When you play a princess, everyone gets weaker. Then and the shift Mulan is just a really strong, like removal tool. And of course, we have the small ones to be able to shift into them, and Queen's Sensor Core.
The heart and soul.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, if you have a prince or queen character in play, gain 1 lore to start your turn. Amazing, just passive lore gain helps against controlled matchups. Or you can pay to try and draw a card if it's a princess or a queen, which it's like a 2/3 chance it is. So you should hit it, And then, just a little bit of actions. Just to round it out, no, bit of cheese, bit of brawl. Got some, we got the Rush Vanellope.
That card is gas, by the way.
Yeah, amazing. takes out Diablo, survives.
No pun
Wants to use
intended
it
with
up
the
again.
gas. She's driving a car.
Um, it is it's a good old time. Sadly, it did not fit well into where the meta ended up developing.
It didn't fit well to our standards, but I will say that we did have many people that have taken home set
Hmm.
championships with this deck. So
Oh, right, yeah.
yeah, there were a lot of people that did well in set champs. There were a few big threads on it, which was completely insane. A lot of people did like your Wreck It Ralph 7-drop one of tech, and
Oh,
there were
yeah.
some other cards that they were also liking, like some of the Lady Tremaines because they were also princesses.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. There's definitely been some revisions of this deck that I've gone through, absolutely, and uh, I'm glad people have gotten use of it. So yeah, it is still a strong deck. Uh, I think sadly we didn't encounter as many like aggro decks as we were hoping, because I think this is really good against an aggressive decks. We can easily shut them down with our big challengers and lower their power, etc. Like both challenging and questing decks, I think this can be good against, but maybe against hard control decks, it can be a little bit tricky to steal the victory.
Yep. So in my testing personally, I thought that we were just missing a way for them to exert their character. We needed to find a way
Hmm.
to promote them to do so. And I couldn't do this before, but this will get a
Yeah.
segue into something in a moment. But what I wanted to do was to try to find a location to fit in here that would force the opponent to want to turn their character sideways, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
it,
because if they don't, the location will just sit there,
yep,
and that's bad for them.
yep. So if we have them turning their character sideways, then we get to play the game plan that we wanted all along, and that's exactly what we wanted.
Oh
And
yeah, oh yeah. Then we can use the Vanellope to lower their strength, and then Mulan to just run in and deal so much damage.
it does change a lot there. Then the other thing I noticed in this meta, some of the top decks like the Green
Hmm.
Steel Discard or the Ruby Amethyst, now both of those decks were lacking one important thing, and that's
Yeah.
item removal. There was no way for either one of those decks to get rid of Queen
Ooh.
Sensor Core. So if we were
Yeah.
able to utilize this card moving into the next meta a little bit more, I don't think
Hmm.
that those decks are changing very much or adding cards that are going to kill an item to like deter them from their plan. So
Yeah. I mean, I always knew that Queen Sensor Core was like actually an insane card. Sadly, it
yes,
just didn't have quite enough support in this set to be super good. But now the new set, oh, things are gonna change.
oh yeah, and I'm glad you said that. So moving into some of
Yeah.
the cards that have been spoiled already for this set, let's see how these changes are going to take place. We have Tiana,
Hmm.
3 cost. It's uninkable. It's a 1/4, and they quest for 2. Now standalone, it's medium, right? Medium because it's uninkable. One
Yeah,
four.
yeah. I
It can
mean
die to
the
red removal.
yeah, I mean the Moana card that don't have any text on it has 3 strength instead of 1, which is a lot more.
Yep.
But the ability on this one is pretty good though. I think that makes up for it.
Yep. And let's get into that. What is the ability?
It's when a character of yours is challenged while this card is exerted. The challenging character gets -3 strengths this turn unless their player pays 3 ink. And who ends their turn? Uh, like who has 3 ink left? When they have played all of their stuff that they want to play, right? They're not gonna want to pay 3 ink probably, so uh, they're gonna have -3 strength, or not be able to play much for the turn if they're gonna take down any one of your characters. So that reminds me a lot of Steel Tiana, the 4-cost Steel Tiana, that
Yeah.
said when this card is exerted and your hand is empty, the opponent can't play actions. Like it's again like Tiana being exerted helped your whole team. right?
Exactly.
So it's another synergy with that, and that's pretty good.
I agree. I think, in retrospect, if a person has 3 ink available on their turn, and they're not going to play anything to pay the 3 ink to try to deal with the Tiana, then they're essentially time walking themselves. And for those of you who don't understand the metaphor, it's a Magic reference where it's basically skipping their turn. They're not going to be able to advance their board state. They're not doing anything productive for their turn other than trying to eliminate the threat that's already on the board, which makes it where you
Yeah.
can stay in a more advantageous spot.
Yeah, so and especially if you play this early, right? If you play this on turn, and then on turn 4 you quest with it, the opponent's going to spend almost their whole turn just paying that 3 if they don't want to get that drawback.
Right. Right. And hopefully they have enough power on the board to be able to deal with it in one character, because if not, they'd have to play 3 twice. And physically, it would be impossible.
Yeah.
So it becomes a problem. Now, so Tiana, there's some merit for running her in the next set. The next card, one of my favorites. It is Sugar Rush Speedway, the amber version.
A location comes on screen, TowelManPurple be like, oh, this is my favorite.
I mean, what do you want from me, right? It's right up my alley.
I'm just out here speaking the
My innovation alley.
I'm just speaking the truth, man. You can't hate me for it.
It's all right, luxurious locks. We get over it. No problem. Now, this location, it costs 2, also uninkable. But when you move a character here from another location, you may banish this location to gain 3 lore and draw 3 cards.
Which is insane.
I don't know who made this card, but thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so it says that the move cost is 6. But we're of course not going to be paying that. That sounds like a bad deal. Instead, there are multiple ways of moving to there for free, right?
Yeah. So we have the original Sugar Rush from the previous set in red that costs 1.
Yeah, it's probably the main way, I think, because that's very cheap.
Have
you know,
Tuk Tuk.
Mm-hmm.
Tuk Tuk can move another character.
We have the new. Well, we'll get to that later, right? The new Shift Moana.
Yep, I think that is this one. We'll move it over.
Oh yeah. We can. Let's take a look at that right now. When you play this character, you may move any number of your characters to the same location for free. Gain 1 lore for each character you moved. Okay, so first off, it just moves onto this 6 cost to move location for free, and anyone she brings with her, you gain 1 lore. Like if you have 3 characters out, you gain 3 lore and 3 lore and 3 cards from the finish line location. So this is the new face of aggro.
Yeah, it's an aggro deck. It doesn't feel like it's aggro. It's beautiful.
Sugar Rush
it's
aggro.
Deceiving.
I just can't believe it.
Now this Moana is a 7 cost. It does ship for 5, but it's a 6/5. It is. She is a big girl. She's a big girl. She is ready for combat.
Yeah, it's actually the same stats as Maui. You know, the original first chapter Maui.
Yep.
Especially if you shift train for 5, which, I mean, there are smaller Moanas, right? I mean, we could do that easily.
Yeah, I mean, there is the 3-drop one we were running in the other decks that's uninkable. But I will say that it seems like some of these cards coming up in this set are also uninkable, so we may want to watch out on what we're playing on our uninkable count. But since you mentioned lower Moanas, let's check out this one.
That's a good shift target. Very cheap and effective.
1 cost, 3/2.
Insane stats.
This character cannot challenge unless you have a captain character in play. So,
do we care though?
I don't think so, to be honest.
we don't care about that. We're just gonna quest. What are they gonna do? Attack with their snake into it and trade their 2 costs for our 1 cost?
Cool. And if we
Okay,
did care, we could always just play Piglet. Piglet's a
fair
captain.
enough.
But this is another great ship target. It's also an early game presence. It can lead you into curving out from 1 to turns further in the game, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. But once again, a very good card. Now, another card that's going to make locations, in my opinion, in a much better spot, I would say, is this Vanellope.
Ooh, yeah.
Tell them about this Vanellope.
I mean, if you have this Vanellope at a location, you get to draw a card and gain a lore every turn. Every turn. Every turn. At the start of your turn. If it's at any location, just sit chilling there, draw a card, gain a lore. Like, just drawing a card would be really good. But also just gain a lore for it for no reason. If we if we have a sensor core out, we gain another lore. So we're just gonna sit there and like gain 1,000,000 lore for nothing at the start of every turn. Like it.
I happen to love it. This can also, like, I guess against steel decks, right? We could also have the ability of playing like Rapunzel's Tower, which buffs the willpower of your characters. Something to think about. As far as evading the red removal, you'd have to play an Anthem effect, like your Lumiere or Grand Duke, if have you, just to have it avoid the red removals. But it's definitely the draw engine that we've been missing. I will say that for sure.
I mean, they can't have all the removals, so just keep playing threats, right? Like, all our cards need answers, and they can't have 1,000,000 of them, so...
Yeah, I agree. Now, we were never really able to, like, play One-Drop Cinderella and Amber Ruby in the Princess version, or the song version, for that matter, because there wasn't really a song version. So Princess or Location version, we just didn't really find use for it. But maybe now there's a use.
It's a good song.
What does this one do?
Like, this is what's called a tutor in other card games, something that Lorcana, for the most part, lack. Something that you just get to look through your deck and grab a card. I mean, like, sure, it has to be a location, but if we're playing a location deck, and this is pretty good, just any location from your entire deck, you just get that in your hand. It's a song, so it costs 0 ink if you have a singer, or just a 3-cost character, whatever.
So wait a minute.
For free.
So you're telling me we have new locations, we have more ways to gain lore and draw cards. Now we have a tutor effect.
For free.
What else? What else do we need? What does this card do?
Nothing.
So, Minnie Mouse. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may return a location card from your discard to your hand. So now we also have recursion.
But man, what if what if you don't have a location in our discard? What if our locations are just sitting there and opponents like ignoring them because they're slow or something? It's almost like one of the new locations will go to the discard pile by itself, and that's supposed to get drawback.
That's the point.
Yeah,
yeah. It's almost like
like
a
line.
baby wombo combo.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's pretty good.
It's almost like when you gain 3 lore and draw 3 cards, and it goes to your discard pile. And what? No, never mind. It's in my hand again. It only costs 2 to replay. What can I say? What can I say?
And you get to do that every turn. This is a combo piece. I would like to say this is a combo piece.
So you're saying I could activate the same finish line twice in a turn, actually?
I mean, technically, that's a possibility, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to wait the next turn to be able to get it back, so then you can only do it once that turn. But and then there's other things that you want to do, like maybe a character's exposed after doing that, because you might have to exert them from the first speedway to get
Fair
them to the
enough.
second. But if they're
Fair enough.
exposed, but if they're
But
exposed, right?
potentially, if we already have the thing, you- yeah, like we could play it for two, and then get it back to our hand the same turn. If we wait with inking, if we ink a card after we have used up our finish line, we can get it back into the hand the same turn.
This is true. And
That's pretty good.
so if we used the red sugar rush to get it to the yellow one, right? From the ruby to
Cost
the
0.
amber, the 0 cost. You just ping it for 1, move it on over. You're able
Yep.
to activate the amber location to draw the 3, gain the 3, and now if you wanted to ink something, you'd be able to get it back. But
Yeah.
if we have this card, we can also protect the guy that we moved to the amber location.
Well, that's very convenient.
Or in this case, protect the gal, because they are princesses.
Yeah.
Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may ready another character of yours. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. So between Raya and Minnie Mouse, they both activate upon when a card has been inked for turn, and only once per turn.
Yeah.
So this card is essentially Sven, but it's a recurring Sven every time you ink.
Every turn. That's really good.
Yeah, I love it. So these have been our thoughts of where we think we're going to segue in to our first Innovation Alley of Set 6. Trying to mold something together, put together the two heads of the Innovation Alley to create one Amber Ruby deck.
Oh yeah, one big buffet.
Now, we do hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode thoroughly. Once again, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, leave a comment in the description area down there. Tell us something that you want to hear. Tell us a color combination you want us to come up with. Tell us some cards that you want us to use for another segment. Give us some feedback. We'd love to hear it. We appreciate you like always, and we hope you guys have a fantastic remainder of your day. Take it easy.